Hi and welcome back to the channel, and I am back after the very busy January we've had with the wedding, going away and all sorts of other things. Massive thanks to all those creators who covered slots of mine. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all saw something you liked and maybe subscribe to a channel or two. Anyway, before we get on to today, big thanks to my patrons. Massive thanks to all my patrons, including new patrons Francis Chimenti, William Foley, Alice Vangstrom, John Roswell, Techblog and Pyro Kitty Cat. Also my newest patrons, Claire Johnson, Mr. Victory and Brian A. Shannon. Thank you all so very much. So today, we're going to look at someone who I have not looked at before. Russian Vids. I was quite interested to see him. I've heard so much about him. His abilities leave something to be desired, I think. Well, let's give him a shot. Roll VT.
This is the world of duality, the world of opposites. And again, taking a look at this footage of the time lapse of the stars going around. That is, again, the wheel in the sky that keeps on turning.
It's the wheel that keeps on turning. Of course, there has to be another wheel over the South Polar region that's apparently turning in the opposite direction. I'm sure you're going to mention that.
Now, how is this possible with the heliocentric model, with the supposed sun moving at 500,000 miles an hour through space?
The supposed sun? Perhaps you should come out from your basement or wherever you're living and go outside in daytime and have a look. It's real. Anyway, it seems that you, as along with other flat earthers, have absolutely no concept of scale. The nearest star system is Alpha Centauri system, around 4.3 light years, which is 25 trillion miles approximately. Now, if you're travelling at 500,000 miles an hour, that will take you around 50 million hours if we were headed directly towards it. That's over 5,700 years at 500,000 miles an hour. Space is big. I've said it before, as has Douglas Adams. Space is big, really big. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the chemist, but that's just peanuts compared to space.
Well, all the other so-called planets, including Earth, of course, are going round and round, again, as this vortex goes through supposedly endless space. Give me a break.
Yeah, we'll give you a break when you stop spouting this crap.
Now, talking about this Earth we live in, forget the northern hemisphere, forget the southern hemisphere. All we have is the inner circle and the outer rim, or the outer circle.
So are you going to be describing some sort of a rim job?
And the Antarctic ice wall that holds the oceans in. And this is something that's not being made up.
No, it is something that's been made up. You're just showing a clip of film of the end of an ice shelf or something like that, a glacier. There would have to be an awful lot more of it to go all the way round the edge of a flat earth disc. A lot longer distance than it is around all of Antarctica.
That we can see with our own eyes with this footage from a helicopter view above Antarctica, the Antarctic ice wall.
Yep, you have just shown us some ice, and not very much at that. Perhaps 2 or 3 miles at a guess. That's a far cry from the tens of thousands of miles of ice wall that would be needed. And of course, that ice will have to be on land, because ice floats. So if it was floating on water, won't the sea rush out underneath it?
And take a look at this footage off the coast of California. Look at the ocean from this vantage point. If we lived on a ball, a spinning ball hurtling through space, how do we get this footage of this ocean? And you can see the horizon and the water level. If we lived on a ball, That water should be going down. We should be looking down. It's rising up to eye level.
That scene is actually quite deceptive. That road's running downhill. Look at the buildings near and the buildings a little further. Those ones are much lower. So you're on some sort of hillside looking down over the ocean. And you say it shouldn't look quite like that. Well, it certainly wouldn't look like that on a flat Earth, as you wouldn't get a crisp horizon line. You'd get a gradual fade off into the distance.
So this is crystal clear for those that have eyes to see. 100% we live on a stationary flat Earth. And again, water does not lie. Water always seeks its level.
You haven't proven anything with that clip, Russian. All you've done is just made an assertion about water finding its own level, which is pretty meaningless.
And again, you can forget the ridiculous notion of the northern, western, southern, eastern hemispheres. All nonsense.
What is actually nonsense? If you have a sphere and you take the top half of it or the bottom half of it, there are two hemispheres. You could cut it whichever way you want, east, west, whichever direction. It's just two halves of a sphere. I'm actually not sure what your problem with this is.
And of course, in the school textbooks, when you look at the ridiculous ball Earth, and they show obviously the inner core, supposed inner core, how would they know what it consists of when the largest drill only basically went down 7.6 miles? So how would they know this? And again, of course, just a cartoon drawing, a fake phony ball Earth, showing the supposed inner core.
You don't have to dig down there to find out its makeup. Just using P waves and S waves from earthquakes, you can measure the time that the waves take to get to various places around the Earth. You can see where there's shadow zones. You can calculate the refraction to work out the different layers that we've got within the Earth.
And again, people that believe this don't believe anything.
Well, I think you're probably wrong there, Russian. I know that I, for one, don't believe in unicorns, fairies, ghosts, or the baby Jesus.
Just take a look here at the ridiculous notion that these huge ships, this one being dry docked for repair, for maintenance, can cling on to the side of a baller, travel up around the sides.
No, don't say it. Just don't. Stop right there.
Go to the bottom of Antarctica, supposedly is on the bottom of the world we live on.
Oh, I can't believe that you actually said that. You were putting out videos supposedly debunking the globe Earth, but your level of understanding is 0, and I checked it twice. That is total and utter fumduckery.
Completely ridiculous.
Yes, you're right. You have made yourself look totally and utterly ridiculous.
Again, just take a look at the size of these people compared to this ship. And take a look here as well, this footage. Again, the magnitude of this ship. And somehow, again, this weaker force called gravity being able to hold on. Now, take a look here. Somehow, these grass seeds are able to defy gravity. You know, grass seeds can defy gravity while gravity can hold down this ship. Things don't add up. Things don't make sense.
Yeah, Russian, I don't think you really know what gravity is, do you? Mass attracting mass. That ship is probably several tons in mass. And so the gravitational attraction between that and the Earth is rather strong, giving it great weight. Those little grass seeds that are just sprouting will weigh fractions of a gram, and the strength of the cell walls as they're growing is enough to support them because the gravitational pull is very slight.
And let's take a listen to what Neil deGrasse Tyson has to say here regarding gravity.
What is gravity?
I have no idea. Okay, next question.
Well, we know something makes us stick to the earth. We know that something makes objects fall to the earth. We know that those objects will fall at 9.8 meters per second. We don't understand 100% exactly what that is, but we can calculate it. We understand the effects. We call that gravity. Neil has just given an honest answer. We don't know exactly what gravity is, and of course, that's exactly what gets you you flirfs all unnecessary and moist.
Wow.
No, here's the difference. We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is, I don't know.
There you go. A scientist's answer. An honourable answer. I don't know. And that's what drives scientists. I don't know, so I want to try and find out. As opposed to flat earthers. I have no idea, but I won't let them know that. I'll just make some crap up and call it good.
And here's the thing is, you have a lot of science geeks online pushing these theories of gravity, evolution, the string theory, theory of relativity as fact, when these so-called leaders of science, such as Neil deGrasse Tyson and Michio Kaku, these so-called high priests of science, nothing but religious nonsense.
You don't even know what a theory is, do you, Russian? A theory is the strongest position an idea can be in. It's tested, it's based on facts, it's been challenged, and it's passed those challenges. For instance, evolutionary theory is probably the strongest theory out of all of them. Evolution is fact. Evolution is made up of millions of facts. Facts that you, if you got off your butt, could go out and check for yourself. Because those facts have been checked by other scientists. Other scientists who would love to find out that the first scientist is wrong, because then they get their name in the books. And as for being religious, so-called religious high priests, they're only so-called religious high priests by flat earthers who are trying to denigrate these scientists by trying to drag them down to the level of your own religion.
Back on topic with the star trails, that's what this video is all about. Let's get right to it. Now, taking a look at the flat earth model here, and again, I said it many times, where we don't know the full dimensions of the flat earth. This is basically a representation, and the point is again, when it comes to star trails, I have to set the foundation so people understand exactly what they'll be looking at.
Well, after all that slagging off of real scientists, don't you think that the first step in proving your flat earth might be actually to make a map? It should be simple, because it's flat. You're not going to have to allow for any curvature. Until you can do that, you've got nothing.
With, again, the sun and the moon that circle above like a clock. When you look at the moon from the inner circle, like I said earlier, the inner circle, not the northern hemisphere, say, for example, from China or Russia, when you look at the moon, you're going to see its face on one side here. You see here that how the northern hemisphere moon looks like. Of course, we only see one face of the moon, and here's the southern. So it's very, again, easy to understand why we see the moon from different aspects of the inner circle and the outer circle, and why they appear as they do.
Well, there's a big fat fail right from the start then, Russian. If the Earth was flat and someone towards the south, say Australia, was looking towards the moon, and someone in the north was looking towards the moon, they would see different things. All they actually do see is exactly the same face, but the other way up. That doesn't work on a flat Earth.
And of course, we see the sun and the moon in the sky often as the sun circles above. Say, for example, you're in California, and say it's about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. on many occasions, you'll see the sun and the moon in the sky at the same time, with obviously both of them above the horizon at the same time. What is the other side of the so-called ball Earth getting as far as moonlight or sunlight during these periods of time? Can happen.
And Mr. Vids, at that point, even though there's about 10 minutes more of your video left, I've had enough, and I suspect that the viewers have as well. What a load of tripe. You don't get scale. You have no idea how gravity works. You can't visualize in 3D. You denigrate science while coming up with a picture of a flat Earth that's just representative. No map. You can't understand even how you can have a sun and moon in the sky on one side of the Earth and nothing on the other side of the Earth. That's not impossible. Every night you go out when there's no moon, there's no sun either. They're both on the other side of the Earth. That debunks you straight away. You are a fail. A big, big fail. And at that point, I'm going to call it a night. Hope you've all enjoyed this. Look forward to seeing you all again soon. Until next time, stay sensible.
Shut up and sit down.